I am just showing up in full authenticity and rawness today. You can see I'm not in my typical setup where I normally do live streams, and honestly, I'm going through a really heavy time right now. Yesterday, a very dear friend to me passed away. His name's Mark, but we all called him D because that was his gamer handle. And D was a man who had faced a lot of adversity. He had experienced many of the same experiences of childhood trauma that I had, and had gone, down into his own darkness for a good chunk of time, trying to process and really show up for himself. And he built such an incredible community. I was a part of his community, in an online gaming community for years, and essentially worked up my role into being his secretary and chronicler and whatnot, because he was a king in this setting. It's a very long, nerdy story for people who aren't familiar with it, but at the end of the day, what it boiled down to, and my reflection, and why right now is such a particularly poignant time for me, is the fact that this was a man who gave me a voice, gave me a platform to speak and to be heard and to be witnessed at a time in my life where, unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of local support. I didn't have a healthy relationship to anchor into. And that obviously took its toll. Domestic violence takes its toll, but Dee was a person who showed up consistently for me through that. And so I'm finding myself, I've got 2 weeks left for vacation until my vacation starts for the winter season. And yesterday I canceled all of my clients to sit with the reality that Dee was leaving our physical world. And it was probably one of the first times in my life that I was able to do that, to just say, I'm sorry, clients. I know you got your own trauma and your own bullshit and your own baggage that's coming up in your life right now, but I need to take this day for me. And that's radical. That is radical, because I know so many people who fail to take time for themselves, who feel so guilty for taking time for themselves. And that was me. It's me for years and years and years and years and years. Years ago, 2018, one of my best friends at the time, her name was Kat. She passed away due to cancer. And I only took a half day off of work. And then I was back in the grind the next day, just going. And this was a person who was also there for me during a lot of the tough times in my life, and being in a relationship that wasn't healthy. And I just moved on with life like nothing had happened. Best friend dies, whatever. You got to go back to work, right? You got to work your 9 to 5. You got to grind. You can't stop. You can't sit down. You cannot give yourself a rest. Right? Looking back on that, the pain, the loss of self that's in that. And I know that there are so many people struggling with that on a day-to-day basis, believing that they cannot rest because they have to make ends meet. They have to figure out how to get to work, how to take care of their families, how to take care of everything, and we fail to take care of ourselves. So that's why I titled this live, Caring for Ourselves in the Midst of Grief and Change. Because, the truth is that there's always something out here in the world around us to grieve about. There's always something that is causing turmoil, that's causing separation, that's causing self-esteem stuff to come up. There's always something that is going on that's going to bring up a change in our environment, or not great feelings like grief, right? Grief is very complex. And I think that so many of us are grieving the lives that we're not allowed to live because we live in this oppressive system and society that says, you know, your family member dies, loved one dies, you better pick it up and go back to work the next day, right? Bereavement, what's that? Maybe you get 2, 3 days. So the fact that as a self-employed person now, back then I was employed, but I'm privileged enough now to be self-employed and able to make a call like that I can take time off of work, even if it is still really, really hard because there's so much guilt and fear of the scarcity and the not enoughness and all of that. We need to wake up. We need to look at these things. We need to look at how society is shaping us to be exhausted and to push through and to ignore the complex feelings that we have about grief, loss, change, all of these things that are constantly happening around us. We need time to integrate, to process, to slow down. So I want to say, care for yourself, please. Care for yourself so deeply and know that you deserve to be able to process whatever is coming up for you. You deserve to have a voice. You deserve to be authentic to your own rhythm and your authentic, energy. What lights you up versus doesn't, what fuels you versus doesn't. If you need a break, the ability to take a break, you deserve that. And I am here as a person who has walked through and is continually in the process of walking through, breaking free from old codependent patterns, breaking free from societal BS that says we have to follow the rules a certain way, that I am a person that is a defiance against this broken system, and I want to invite you to be in defiance too, and to say that this doesn't work. And we deserve to have time to process whatever's coming up for us in the midst of grief and change. We deserve a soft space to land and breathe and be, and take in the harsh realities that this life can have sometimes, so that we can anchor back on joy and calm and peace and connection and all of the beautiful things that are there too. So if you would like to be a part of these conversations, I would love to hear how grief and change is coming up for you as we move into winter. We're moving into this time of darkness, and there was definitely some divine timing with my friend passing away at this time of year. A friend who, again, gave me a voice at a time where there were no other men in my life giving me that voice. For me to look back and go, wow, this was the person who really was foundational in me being able to get on live and talk to people, because it was through my work with Dee and the community that we built that I began getting on live streams and talking in front of usually around 100 live people at a time, and talking about video games and nerdy stuff and culture within the game and the communities, and it was great fun. But it was such important foundational work for me to know that I do have this voice and I can speak and I can get on a live camera and say what I need to say when I need to say it. And I'm grateful for having Dee in my life and having a friend who never let me forget that I had a voice. So thank you to him. And thank you if you listened in and tuned into this and got something out of it. Please let me know. I am grateful for you too. I'm grateful for the waves of change that we can make happen in the world. So until next time,